area. So this is just to show them that we have respect by the tobacco. Okay, ayos tobacco. Ano kistiko yan? Go, tukminan, speaks ko. Okay. Nagsijip sa tamo. Tanis to opis pinan, tanis to what tukminan. Ano kistiko yan? Okay, tobacco pio. Kukinan skonatap siniki. Kukinan kukakshin. Okay, kendi kukakamanistay. Hey, kamata. Okay, now we can start. Okay. Nisto nitanik ko natayisinski. Kitsi machinok po anok kistikoyay. Anok. Itamik istiko. Okay. Naksi po anok kistikoya. Takitsi nakitsiniki. Okay, kenni nok. Takumatapi. Ipo. Okay, I'll just start in English. My name is Terry Joe Smalllegs. My Indian name is Medicine Badger. I was born and raised here in the Pagan Reserve 70 years ago. Grew up here. Grew up with a lot of my culture. At that time, that was starting to come to the end of, I guess you'd say, the cultural world when I was a young kid. We were denied all these things. We were denied our spirituality as the government took over, as the treaties came by. There's an old man in Browning, Montana that wrote a book called The Sun Come Down. The Sun Came Down. This book goes back into Napi's days. He tells the stories of Napi. Napi was I guess in the white world you'll say an angel, but in our world, he was a Natuyita. In our world, a spirit. He was sent to us to show us in the beginning of time how to live off the animals, how to live with the animals, because we are part of the animal world, the Blackfoot people. When I say that, I go back to bundles. Way back in the old times, there was a bundle called the All Pellet Bundle. That was brought to us by a man named Scarface. And Scarface went towards BC in order to, his story begins. He came back home with the Sundance, first Sundance in our life we ever had. And it was put together by all the animals. All the animals came to this big teepee. And they were told, this is how this bundle was taught to me by the spirit people. Now I'm going to show you guys how it works and how we're going to make use of it in the future. So all the animals came together. They gave up their spirits for this bundle. Every animal had a spot in this big circle of life at the beginning of time. And it goes on and on. There's another one that came, another bundle, and that came from the spirit world up above. Those were the two original bundles that came to us back in the old days. Today, there's many bundles today, many bundles. Back in the old days, certain bundles. As I grew up, I sat with a lot of old people here as I grew up. Back in the 60s, 70s, there was a big change. The Western world was very strong. It started taking us over through education. A lot of us went through the white world education, and we're sent to boarding schools. I'm a boarding school survivor. These are the things that really took the young people away from their culture was the boarding schools. The Roman Catholics, the Anglicans, whichever religion was here at the time. You know. But we started out with Catholic and Anglican. Back in those days, you know, in order for the religious man to come into this world, into our world, he had to learn Blackfoot. So a lot of them spoke Blackfoot. A lot of these priests from way back, as it's the only way they would understand the Blackfoot people. So they learned it. They learned how to talk Blackfoot. This is why I say, you know, I guess to me in my world, my research, it was all a setup, you know, to why we lost our culture, quite a bit of it. And just lately, a few of the old people, a lot of the old people, got back together, and what we have is what we're using today. We've lost a lot of our culture. We lost a lot of our spirituality. Today, our sweat lodges, this is just part of the whole big picture of the Blackfoot world. The Blackfoot world is big. It's a big world. Myself, I run a pipe. It's a medicine, it's a warrior pipe. I'm just one spoke of this world. So the warriors had their own thing going compared to the bundle holders, to the all pipe carriers, to all these other things. The warriors had their own system. And this is why we go back to today's. I've been trying to bring back the warrior world, because the warrior world is a humble world. So we do these sweat lodges to show the power of the people, that it's coming back. It's coming back slow, but it's coming back. Reconciliation is something that I say it's good on one hand, to where they're coming to ask you now, what kind of story do you have? Which we've never had that chance in our life. So it's good on one hand. We can start telling the truth. We can start telling the real story of us. Not what the white people have wrote about us. Not what they have made books on us, sold those books, made money on us. Today, we do on our own. And I'm very proud of my people, because we got educated. Now we're using their world to help our world get going again. When I went to school in the 60s, that was gone. You know, it changed a lot in the 60s when I went to school. What I said at that time, it was genocide. It was killing of a culture, killing of a language. Today, at 70 years old, I'd say I'm about 65% Blackfoot speak. When I grew up, I didn't know Blackfoot. I didn't know how to talk Blackfoot when I grew up. I grew up in the Western world. Education, going to school. When they opened it up, the white schools to us, I was one of the first guys to get sent to a white school. Did I learn anything? No, I didn't learn anything. You know, going to a white school. I educated myself later on in life, and I grew up. I went back to school, and this is where I started my education, so I can go back and research my people. I had to learn the white world's education in order to do this. So that's what I did. I went back, and today, like I say, you know, I'm very involved with my culture. And, you know, today we're trying very hard to bring back the language. We teach it in the schools, Every chance I get to talk to the pagan people, I'll try talk Blackfoot as much as I could so they can understand, start catching on. So we got a long road, but it'll never be forgotten. It's we they tried to get rid of it 150 years ago. We're still here. We still have our language. We still enjoy our life. So to me, the Creator has saved us through all that. And so today, we got to make the best. And the best is our children, is our kids. Those are the ones that are going to take us into the future. How the future looks, I do not know. But I know culture is going to be part of it. Reconciliation, one of the things was education. Back a few years back, there was 3 sets of people here. There was the First Nation, there was the Hutterites, and there was the Métis. 3 nations here. All had our own separate schools. Had our separate schools. White people had their school, Pagan had their school, Hutterites had their school, Métis had their school. Part of reconciliation today through education is they're trying to bring these things together and deal under one. That's what they're trying to do today. So these are the things through reconciliation that I see is right now we're educating the white teachers in the schools because they want this thing to come together. So the white teachers, the white people got to start knowing about the Indian world. And so a few of us got sent out to talk, tell stories of our territory, tell stories of the way back before contact, stuff like that. So I've been doing that. I've talked up the pass. I've talked in Fort McLeod. I've talked in Pinche Creek. These are just local places here that I've got to go talk and tell them the stories so they can understand more of who an Indian was. All their lives, they didn't know who the Indian was because we were put down. And so today, it's our chance to show them this is what we are. We've never changed. We're still here. We're still doing these things. We still have our powwows. We still just finished going through one. We go back into our culture world. We still have all the parts of our culture world still there. It's just that we got to start practicing them. We got to start using them like I do. I use the warrior sweat lodges. We lost a lot of history back in the old days of the old people because the government stopped it. The old people were, again, some of them didn't want to talk on it. Today, some still don't because they were in that world. Today, we got to open up. We got to open up and start fighting back and showing them that, hey, this is our world. This is our world here. And no matter what kind of abuse you get, but you take tobacco, you go and you give it out and you forgive them. That gives you freedom. That gives you freedom. I don't want to carry that no more, so you give tobacco. Now you go. Start your world. And that's what I believe in, is we have to do. We got to do that. So, just to end off, like this where we're sitting today is a very holy place to us. This is where we do a lot of thinking. We come together. We do our sweat lodges. We do our feasts in this area here, right here where we're sitting today. And, myself, like I said, I pray for all people in the world. Everybody in the world. In my world, when I pray for them, I'll always say, Handak siya matapik. Kanapi yami tsakko. That belong all the people in the world. That's what I say in my prayer. Because we're all equal. That's the way I look at it. I just wish the people, I wish everybody that's doing this work the best in life. I wish them the best from my heart. I pray for them that they come out with something that's the world is going to see. Not just mine, everybody that talk. So the world can see and look and see, oh yeah, I see what these guys, what's going on. I told them that's all I'm there for. You know, at 70 years old, you know, I just got a short time left. Thank you very much. I appreciate interviewing me. Thank you very much. Hey, hey.